Hello and welcome to the Rouse Cloud Podcast. I'm your host, Carl Rouse Sr. And this platform was created to motivate and to inspire in hopes that you will become a better you. You know, I like to give my shout outs always to those that are listening as a kind gesture. I take a couple of minutes to say hello to everybody out there. And I definitely want to start with the folks right here in North Carolina. My hometown, Winston-Salem, North Carolina, the Trey folk. And we are right here now in Greensboro, North Carolina, the Gate City. A shout out to those that are listening in Raleigh, in Durham, North Carolina, the Bull Town. Those that are listening over in Chapel Hill, the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina. You know I didn't forget about you. And I want to make sure I say hello to those that are listening in Los Angeles, California. Thank you for tuning in to the Rouse Cloud Podcast. West, y'all. Over there in Arizona, Washington, Arlington. Man, I appreciate the love we're getting. Over there in Chicago, thank you for listening. Man, thank you guys for just joining us. We're going to take you guys abroad and say hello to those in Brussels, Belgium. Man, thank you for the love that you guys are giving to the Rouse Cloud Podcast. Bonjour to the French-speaking folks over in Brussels, Belgium. Listen, Russia and listen, all over Malaysia and India. Thank you guys. Argentina, stand up. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Listen, Brittany Griner. If you don't know who that is, Brittany Griner. Y'all send BG home. Y'all know what it is. So listen, thank you guys for tuning in and keep listening. Make sure you download. So listen, I have a very special guest in the building. I have the one and only author, Candi Jeter. What's up, Candi?
Well, what's going on, Chris? Man, I am so glad to be here.
Right on.
I've been hearing so much about you and everything that you're doing, and I just want to say it's awesome just to be in the present.
Right on.
I love your spot. I love your voice, your energy.
Right on.
Keep it going.
Yes, sir. Black excellence at its finest.
Yes, sir.
We got to represent.
That's right.
We take the little that we have and make something great out of it.
That's it.
I love it. So listen, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. We're not going to hold you guys up any longer. I don't know about you guys, but I'm waiting to hear what this beautiful black woman has to say to us on this platform. She is an author, and I will let her tell you guys the books that she has written. I will let her tell you guys, and I will let her tell you what she does. Took me a minute to get that out, Candi.
Yeah,
I
was trying to work with you energetically.
I know he's like, come on, bro, get it out, brother.
But yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey. I started out as a cosmetologist, and I had lots of clients and really enjoyed what I did. And then, went through some things that we'll get into later, and ended up getting into higher ed. But in between that, I've always been into metaphysics and all kinds of knowledge that a lot of people steer away from that we'll get into later. And wrote my first book, 25 Thoughts About Your Destiny, released that in 2007. And then my second book, which is How to Let Go Even When It Seems Impossible. That's important, and we'll get into that. And I released that about a year ago. And
let me give you a hand clap, girl. With a little bit of music, okay?
Thank you.
That's dope. I love it. Yeah.
And then I just moved on into a natural fit of hypnotherapy and became a licensed hypnotherapist last year.
Yeah.
And I've been working that vein ever since. And it has just been rewarding to see how people transform after a few sessions of hypnotherapy.
I love it. I absolutely love it. But how did you leave cosmetology? Like, how did you get out of, like, so I know so many people do hair, right? So many people are cosmetologists. I won't say so many, but quite a few folks do hair, right?
Yeah.
How did you guys do well in that industry?
Yeah.
So how did you transition? Let me just say that.
Well,
I know you hear stuff all day long when people are sitting in the chair anyway. But how did you make this transition?
Well, I think it happened during a time when I was also going through my divorce. And so I was needing to either, when you're an entrepreneur, your business grows if you're doing what you're supposed to do. And when it grows, either you grow with it, meaning that you have to take a leap of faith, or you shut it down.
True.
And because I had so much going on, I had 2 kids going through a divorce, I knew I needed to expand my business, but I did not have the support, or so I thought at the time. Yeah. I was in my early 30s, and I had a lot of knowledge from Mr. Dudley, and I knew that I had a resource there. But you know how it is when you have talent, you have everything there, but your mind is not there.
I love that.
My mind was on survival mode.
Yeah, I get it.
And so when that happens, though, it's not always a bad thing, because sometimes through things like that, you're forced to tap into the spirit of things. And I got a message to do something different. And so I decided to go back to school and finish school.
Good for you.
And then I switched over into higher ed. And I loved that as well.
Yeah.
So I got my degree in adult learning and higher ed administration. That was a doctoral journey that taught me a lot. And even though you don't need a doctorate degree, I'll tell people right now, you do not need that. You don't need a bachelor's degree. Yeah. But there's a lot of things that you learn on the journey of education that teach you discipline, and it teaches you that it's not all about you. You know, you learn a little bit about life when you are forced to do things that seem impossible. Yeah. When somebody's asking you to do something, and it's something similar to the military.
Yeah, absolutely.
Somebody asks you to do something and you can't calculate in your mind how you're going to get it done.
Right.
And when you go higher up in education, it's like that. You know, we need this by this time. You need to produce 35 pages in 2 weeks. So you need to do this. You need to do this amount of research. And then you have life going on. And then you figure out how you're going to do that, right?
So how did you do that, Candi? Because I know you had some challenges there where you were challenged. Let's say that. You know, divorced, got your children that you're still being a mother to. How did you do that?
You just do it, you know, and the method comes after it's done, because you ask yourself, how did I do that?
Right.
And if you really reflect on the method of how you do it, it all unfolds as you go, and then you share it with other people. Yeah. But one of the things I will say is that when you do things in survival mode, or what I call force, your body will turn against you.
Sure.
And through that process, when I had gotten accepted into a doctoral program at Cleveland State and moved myself and my kids 3 states away.
No, you didn't. I did not know that.
I was in Cleveland for about 4 or 5 years.
Right on. I got you.
And so that was another lesson, right? But through this process, my respiratory system was taking a toll. I was just not breathing through this process. And a lot of people know, but some people don't know that the respiratory system is controlled by your nervous system. When your nervous system's not doing well, then in some of us, our breathing shuts down. And so that was the way my soul was communicating to me that I was out of balance.
You just unpacked a lot, sister. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm speechless right now. I'm going to be honest with you. So you went to Cleveland.
Yeah.
And went on your education journey.
Yeah. And then came back. Yep. And then that was when I went on a journey to utilize that. I had more lessons to learn, and finally ended up in higher ed. So I'm at UNCG, an administrator there. Yeah. And I like it.
How was Cleveland? How was the move to Cleveland? What were the challenges? I know, I love the city too. So did you face any challenges as it pertains to making sure your kids did this and did that? Don't go over here, don't do this. How did you manage that too, moving into a new area? Or are you familiar with Cleveland?
Well, it was brand new. And when we went and we had the heaviest coats that we had in North Carolina. And on their first day of school, I had them all zipped up. I was zipped up. And I was driving them to school because I didn't want them to ride the bus because I wasn't yet familiar with who's on the bus and all of that. We all went outside, and then we all turned right back around and went back inside. So I've never felt cold like that before. We were in pain.
Yeah,
it hurt. So that same day we went back out shivering and went to their Burlington coat factory, and they have coats there that we don't have here.
Correct.
So I got those coats.
Yeah.
And then my kids started walking to school.
Wow.
And they started adapting, and we started, and it was actually nice. You hear a lot of bad things about Cleveland, but I met some wonderful people.
Sure.
I loved it, actually.
I think that's dope. Your kids were able to adapt quickly, but it says a lot about you and your parenting, too, you as a mother, too. So they were, I hope you guys are listening to what she's saying in this transition that she made to continue her education. You got to understand, if you've ever been through a divorce, it's like a death. So there's a lot happening. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of emotional turmoil that is happening when you divorce. And then I love this story because she had the audacity to say, I'm going back to school and get my education, and I'm going to leave Greensboro for a little while. I'm going to go to Cleveland, Ohio, and start up a new life and make it out of here. I got to do what I got to do. Where did you get that drive from, Candi?
Hey, it's one thing that experience will do. It'll either push you to the highest level, or it will push you into the grave. So it's your choice.
Do or die.
Do or die.
In the literal sense.
In the literal sense. In the literal sense. So I was in overdrive, and I call that force. But when I ended up in the hospital, when I came back home, I was not aware of the level of stress that I was under. I kept having asthma attacks and going to the emergency room, and I kept going and going and going. And then finally, when I came back to Greensboro so that my kids could graduate with their class and their friends, I ended up in the hospital for those 7 days, which changed my entire life. So I had spent all this time accumulating knowledge of self.
Yeah.
And
we hear that all the time.
We hear it all the time.
Yeah.
And I knew that there was nothing out there, that everything that was happening inside of me, and what I was seeing was the projector of my soul playing out in front of me. Right?
Yeah.
So I knew I don't have this thing like God is punishing me, God is testing me, or I don't feel any of that.
Yeah.
I was feeling like I made choices to marry who I married. That took me down a road. I made choices to change my career. That took me down a road. I made choices to have children. That took me down a road. All of this that's happening is just a result of my choices. So I'm learning how to make choices, but most of all, I'm learning how to trust myself. Because when you make choices and they don't turn out the way that you think that they should, you stop trusting yourself. And then you start looking outside of yourself, and that sends you down a whole nother road that's not your road. That's somebody else's road.
It really is.
Right. And so when I got back here and landed in the hospital, I was forced to sit still for those 7 days. And that was when I heard, let go.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what do you mean let go? I've let go of my house. I let go of my marriage. I let go of, my location. I let go of my salon. I let go of everything. I named about 10 things that I had let go of, right?
And you had to be okay with it.
And I had to be okay with it. Yeah. But then I heard, you haven't let go. You've had those things taken from you, but you're still holding on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, how am I holding on? So energetically, spiritually, mentally, I was holding on. And how was I holding on? I was still comparing where I was with what I had rather than what I can be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was moving by completing tasks, but I wasn't growing past my circumstance. So I was completing these degrees and I was completing these things about getting my job. I was manifesting things. I would say and write down things that I wanted, and they would be happening, but it was something that was still missing.
Yeah.
So I learned, always focus on what you need, and what you want will come. But if you skip what you need to get what you want will never amount to really what it is that you're trying to get. Did I confuse you on that one?
No, you did not. Okay. No, you did not. I'm loving every bit of it.
Yeah, so I had to backtrack.
Yeah.
And I was having asthma attacks because I was going after what I wanted, but I was neglecting what I needed. And sometimes we get what we want confused with what we need. And a lot of times what we need is not tangible. So when we say we want our own podcast, or we want our own salon, or we want our own hypnotherapy business, or we want a relationship, or we want children, or anytime we can say we want something that we can put our hand on, what comes before that want is the invisible. It's the things that you can't touch. And those are the things that we ignore. Those are the things that stop you from having asthma attacks on your journey. Those are the things that keep you from having heart attacks and strokes and high blood pressure. The invisible is what keeps you balanced physically and spiritually. And a lot of times we overlook those things. We're not getting our rest. We're not eating right. We're not getting love. We're not surrounding ourselves with the people who are in support of the things that we're trying to get, right? We are in our own way sabotaging. I would do this, but I would do that. But if only if this would happen, then I could do that, right? So I was doing that along the way, and I was making my journey harder than it had to be. And my body was saying, let go.
Yeah. That's a powerful place to get in. Like I've been there. That's why you hear me pausing and quiet, because I've been there. I've been there. And I love what you said before. I love to use this term. It's a law term, causation, the law of cause and effect. And as you were talking about that was the thing that kept pricking me in my heart. You know, it's really not. We always look at people when they make mistakes, and we was just talking about this actually. That's why I got to have you back again with a few more voices on here, because your perspective is one I feel like it needs to be heard. It's simple too. It's simple. It's like, okay, so if I go out here and I decide that I'm gonna shoot up this place, right? Mm-hmm. There are a couple of things that's going to happen in that situation, right? Mm-hmm. And it's only one way to get out of it. I'm going to die, or I'm going to go to jail for a very, very long time. And so when we approach life like that, right? Mm-hmm. When we approach life like that, then it seems to be a little bit easier for us to navigate through a lot of the traumas, a lot of the mistakes. It's something I had to learn too, though. So as you were saying it, I was like, God almighty. This is right down my alley, because this is actually how we heal. Yeah, you got to accept the fact. Well, I did that. Somebody mad at you. Okay, I know what I did to piss them off. Right. Your children ain't talk to you. Oh, I know why they mad. Yeah. Your baby mamas ain't talking to you. You nigga, you know what you did. Yeah, I'm just right. I mean, you know, and then once you can kind of settle that, in your spirit and in your heart, and you can say, I'm sorry, I can forgive you. Now, here's the caveat to that. They may not accept your apology. Right. They may not ever talk to you again. But once you release it, you release it. You release it. And you're done with it. Mm-hmm. And so I love what you just said. It's so powerful. And I hope you guys are hearing what she's saying. You know, I was just saying earlier, you know, we don't make excuses for people's behaviors. We don't, right? We don't. Right. But at the back end of that, it is a why. Yeah. It is a why. Why did they do that? Yeah. Who did that to you? Right. You know, like, why are you acting like that? What happened to you over here? Mm-hmm. What happened to you when you was a child? Mm-hmm. Only thing we want to do in society nowadays is just point at people, right? Right. We just want to say, well, he did this and he did that. Right. Whoa. Why did he do it? Mm-hmm. That's fine. He in prison. I mean, it's not, it's fine. He got to pay his debt to society. Whatever he did it. Mm-hmm. But what caused him to go down that road? We never ask those questions. You know, we just hear people gossip. Well, yeah. That person, he nigga, shut up. Yeah. That's what you want to say. Right. Nigga, right. On out of here. Right. But anyway, I'm talking too much. It's about you. Well, no, that's a good point, because a lot of the times I always say we're not curious enough. No. We call it nosy. But when you are like when you love people, you also love what drives them. Mm-hmm. That's always been a very, very that's so insatiable to me. I've never gotten enough of wanting to know what drives people. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So when I was very young, maybe about 21, I had gotten into astrology, and I'd gotten into astrology actually through personality typologies. I had loved personality quizzes and things like that, the getting to know you kind of stuff. Yeah. And then so I started looking up where these things originated, and I came upon astrology. Well, we'd always been taught, not to look at astrology. Sure. But then once I got deeper into it and realized that it was such an ancient system, and realized that, especially if you get into medical astrology, and then I realized that Gemini rules the lungs and the nervous system and the hands, and then you have Pisces rules the feet and the lymphatic system, and Sagittarius rules the hips, and Capricorn rules the skeletal system, your teeth, your bones, things like that. And Taurus rules the throat and the thyroid gland. And you start looking at those things, and you start just realizing every
everything is connected. That was when I was around 21. I was very curious as a child.
Sure. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And so when I was about 21 and I ran into original knowledge systems, ancient knowledge systems, it really took me back to where things started.
Gotcha.
And then I went on this journey, and first stop was my Black culture. Right? I was in there for a little while, and I was Nausi Hakima. Remember that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Which is Swahili for Black wisdom.
Yeah.
And so I was that for about 8 years on Facebook, and everything was all about ancient knowledge, Kemetic knowledge, and, my Black self. And then I stopped there because there's a wall there. Right? Because we're more than that.
Sure.
And so after I had stopped there, then I went on into more of a spiritual path. And then that took me into metaphysics. Okay. And then it just brought me full circle to myself. And then that's how I started. People started coming to me.
Yeah.
Wanting me to read their charts.
I got you.
And then once I started doing that, they wanted life coaching. And then once I started doing that, they wanted to go deeper. And I came up with a coaching program that's independent of astrology, of course, because that's not everybody's thing, right?
Sure.
And so you have to be considerate of that. And then not only that, a lot of church people would come and say, can you show me that, or work with me, or show me some of these hidden things in my personality that I'm missing.
Yeah.
And when I explained it to them, they said, wow, this is nothing like what we've been told that it was. Oh my goodness. And so I had to let them know these things don't control you. They are tools, just like your Bible is your tool. Right?
Yeah.
And that was where I found my niche. And that is where I've been in the sweet spot the whole time. And I grew up I didn't even go to public school until I was in the 10th grade.
Really?
I was in church school all my life.
Wow.
And Bible was a part of the curriculum.
Get it?
And we had to learn everything from Genesis to Revelation. We had to learn prophecy. We had to learn, everything.
Yes.
Right? Well, that was a great foundation.
Absolutely.
Because then I had a contrast, a backdrop, something to compare this other knowledge that I was coming to. And then I started seeing all of these things fit together like a puzzle. And I said, wow, so everything is connected. I don't have to choose. I don't have to throw anything away. I don't have to judge this or judge that or say this is good or this is bad.
Right.
It all fits.
Yeah.
And so I was able to put it all together so that other people wouldn't have to figure it out.
Yeah.
And that's what has kept me going and my clients coming, because I come from a different perspective that leads them back to them.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful, because we all have genius in us. We all have something in us, just what you said, that drives us. And I think that's just, man, this is good. This is good. I believe that with us talking about this, and I'm trying to switch gears, but you just hit on so many different things, and I know your focus is women, but I gotta ask you: do you work with men, and will this work for men? And do you see a need where this can be effective for their life?
Yeah, I do work with men.
Okay.
Men are more, men are different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what men will do is they say, hey, can I holler at you for a minute? And
That's
then,
what we do too.
Can I holler at you for a minute? I've been watching you do this thing, and it's very intriguing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. more than what I can count on one hand are pastors, right?
Wow.
And they, during the pandemic, they had to reposition themselves, and they had to rethink how they were doing this God thing, because people had a lot of time to ponder. See, we live in a world that doesn't want to give you time to ponder. And while they were stopping the world to do their thing, they didn't realize a lot of humans were doing their thing, which was coming into their own, right?
Yes.
And so people started asking questions, and pastors had to dig deeper.
Yeah, you got it.
And so they said, how can you show me some of these things without me necessarily communicating that that's where this is coming from?
I got you. Mm-hmm.
Right?
No, I'm with you.
And so I began to show them a lot of the connections to occult knowledge and the Bible, because the Bible is so full of it, right? And so one of my favorite texts is forget about the past. I'm doing something new.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm creating rivers in the desert, and I'm creating pathways in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's happening now.
Right now. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize, okay, that's telling me to let go. Forget about the past. Yeah. I'm doing something new. And I heard that in the hospital.
Yeah.
Do something new.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand where that was coming from. And because I already had Bible knowledge, do something new. Where did I hear that before? Oh, go to Isaiah. And I was like, Isaiah, what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And then it came to me. And then so I looked it up. Do something new. Forget about the past. Do something new.
Yeah.
It's happening now. What is the past? Well, the past is me pulling up out there in the parking lot to walk into the building, right?
Yeah.
And what if I was still stuck out there? Would I be able to do this show?
No, you wouldn't.
Right?
You wouldn't.
I got to forget about the past so that
Gotcha.
the newness can unfold.
Yes.
Because if I'm still out there in the parking lot, a show is not happening.
No, not at all.
And that's how it is in life.
Yeah.
And so I had to realize, okay, that's how I was stuck.
Yeah.
I was still back in my divorce, back, well, things should have been like this. Well, maybe we should have did that. We should have,
Yeah, I got you.
and it would have been different.
Yeah.
And I was completing my degree, but I was split. Forget about the past. I'm doing something new. It's happening now. Right now. It's happening. I'm creating rivers in the desert. You ever seen a river in the desert just pop up out of nowhere? Right? If you visualize it, because the word says, can you see it? Meaning, can you perceive it?
Yeah.
Not is it there?
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand that. It's metaphorically.
Yeah.
And I don't think people really understand when they read the Bible. I think that's another. I'm not even going to get into that. But go ahead, sister. Continue.
Yeah,
Continue.
but yeah. So those are the things that I do. I connect the word. I connect you. I connect nature. I connect it all because it's all connected.
Yes.
And then that way, when you go out there, you're able to see yourself in everything.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
People say God. Okay, of course I say you, but if somebody tells me where God's address is, let's go. I'm ready. I want to see God. Right? Where's the address? Right?
Yeah.
It's in you.
Yeah.
It's in you. Everywhere you go, there you are. Everywhere you go, I go to prepare a place for you. And when I go, I'm going to receive you unto myself. Right? So when you say you want to do something, that's the you and you going to go do that thing. And then you get that together and then you call your you back. Because I had prepared a place for myself when I was going to go get my education, but I had left that little you back in 1993 and 2000, right? I didn't receive myself unto myself. So I wasn't able to get the full blessing. That's where sickness comes from and dis-ease comes from, because we're not receiving ourselves unto ourselves when we go. That's why the word doesn't come back void. Why? Because we send it out and it comes right back. But if you send it out and you stuck over there and still in the parking lot, and I say, I'm going to do a show with Chris, and I sent that word out, but I'm still out there. My conscience is still out there in the parking lot. I'm not going to be able to have my thoughts in the now to be able to communicate what I'm communicating with you. It's the I and I that's communicating with you right now. The God in me communicating with the God in you. Right?
We just talked about that today with, we do an African connection on Thursday. We do an African connection, and Femi, he's from Nigeria. So it just made sense. So we started doing it, and we just talked about that earlier.
Wow. That's
why it's everything that you're saying. I know that we're on point. You know what I'm saying? I know we were.
Yeah.
Because what I said to him was, he was like, he said, Ross, he said, think about it. Think about how slavery was. We were talking about Ghana and the port and the gold, and just, how rich it is in resources, but how the economic structure is just terrible because of corruption and other things. But, he was saying that, hey, things are better, though. They're getting better, but there's still some issues over here. And so when he was talking to me, he was like, Ross, it's just like if you just freely let somebody in your door. We just friendly people, black folks. We just nice people. Come on in. You can come on in. You want something to eat?
Right.
Come on in, baby. I'll feed you.
That's
us, right?
That is.
Come on in, baby. You want something to drink? Come on in. Take your shoes off if you want to.
Right.
And he said, we're that way because that's the God in us. He said, so when you think about Africa, he said, when they came over and got us, we were just like, yeah, come on in. We wasn't thinking their thoughts.
No.
We're thinking godly thoughts. Yeah, welcome.
Right.
Come on in.
Right.
And then they snatch you up.
Yeah. And when we think like others think, I'm just going to say others rather than they. When we think like others think, constantly getting and going outside of ourselves to conquer and dominate and control out of ego, we get sick. And they always say, black people are sick. They're sick. They're sick. Why are we so sick? Because we are not on our thrones where we used to be. And your throne is your square, right? You done got off your square. I said done got off. You done got off your square.
It's all right.
Right? You done got off your square because somebody did this or that.
Yeah.
And now see, we getting ready to talk about isms. That brings me into isms.
Yeah, go ahead.
So isms, they're not real. They are created. They're imaginary. They are things that say, okay, Chris, you have on a white shirt. Candi has on a black shirt.
Yeah.
You can go in. Candi, you cannot. Immediately that sends enmity between you and I.
Yes.
And I said, well, I know when Chris go in there, Chris gonna send for me because Chris is my boy, right?
That's what
but they get you over there and they say, Chris, you can't bring Candi with you. We're gonna take care of you. We're gonna give you this. We're gonna give you that. But you're gonna have to leave Candi. If you bring Candi, I ain't gonna be able to help you. Well, you're going to say, well, I Candi, I got kids, I got a wife, I got to take care of my family. I ain't going to be able to hook you up. Well, Candi going to be mad. Candi going to get 2 or 3 more people. Chris is the bad guy.
Yeah.
Then Chris is like, well, these people are my friends. Y'all turned on me. And then what has happened?
Good analogy.
We have created division over an imaginary ism that doesn't even exist. And then it gets so big that somebody says they have to fight it. So then you begin to fight me when it's just my black shirt. It ain't even me.
Ooh,
right?
yeah.
And then I begin to fight you when it's just your white shirt.
Yeah.
And we have totally been tricked. Yes. And our brain thinks it's real. Wow. Right? And so we create systems to keep you from attacking my black shirt and keep me from attacking your white shirt. Yeah. And now we have another whole entity that has energy in it that's growing, and we put stuff in it. We put money in it. We call it an organization, and we're fighting and we're using it and we're setting up laws and we're giving it a soul, and it's living. It becomes a living thing, and we feed it. And that way, what happens? Me and you are really in agreement and working together, and we don't even realize it. We're just working against this idea that makes us think that we are enemies, but we're really not. So we can never solve it because it doesn't exist.
I like the way you broke that down.
It doesn't exist. So the only way you can get rid of isms is you literally can't acknowledge it.
Wow.
So if you're 80 years old and you come to me and you say, you know what, I might be 80, but I'm fit and I can do this job.
Yeah.
And I say, you too old. That's an ism.
Yeah, it is. I got you.
But if I ignore that and say, you know what, I'm going to bring Chris on in and I employ you and ignore it, you could probably make me a millionaire.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's awesome. That is empowered. That's empowering somebody.
Yes.
That's literally what you've done. So what, you 80? Come on. You say you physically fit? Come on. We'll work with you.
Yeah.
Come on in here. Matter of fact, we got a line that's slower. Come on.
Right.
Go down on that end, but you'll find out he's productive on that end, though.
Yep.
And most of the time, you want productivity.
Yeah.
You know, that's what you want.
My mom is 86, and I'm going to tell you right now, she'll outwork any of us. And she's going to do extra.
That's right.
And she's going to do things that you ain't even thought about.
Right. Ain't that something? That's beautiful. I love that. So you can't count people out.
Mm-mm.
You cannot.
And you can't fight people because why? We're all connected.
Yeah. Ain't that
I am you and you are me.
That's beautiful.
Now, why we can't do that in relationships?
I don't know. God help us all today.
Why is it when we get in relationships, we start becoming, and you mentioned that. I had posted that.
Yeah, you did.
You look at somebody and you say, oh, wow, I like the way they flow.
Right.
I like the way they throw. I like the way they run that play.
Yes.
I like what they're doing. And then I want them. And I'm going to pick them. And as soon as I pick them and they run that same play, that same throw, that same everything that I just said I like, all of a sudden I don't like them no more. And I want to fight them. I want to hurt them.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, we got to work together. It's teamwork. You said a lot of things, though. You said a lot of things that I thought about, that I looked at, and even before I started doing this, I might have been guilty of some of those things. One thing that I have learned, one thing that I do know is, in order for these type of conversations to happen, there's a great deal of transparency that has to happen, Candi. Like, with you just saying that, you mentioned something about just because, and we've heard it before, but I dare you. You said something about I dare you to come in here and diminish the value of my business by saying you should get it free.
Yeah, give me a hookup.
Give me a hookup.
Don't do that.
That don't work. That doesn't work because you don't know how hard. Matter of fact, you don't even know their story. You don't even know where they came from to get to where they are now.
Exactly.
They don't even know the struggles that people have just to get to where they are.
Exactly.
They're just looking at, they ain't doing nothing. But you don't know how long it has taken them to get to where they are.
Come on. And it takes a long time, and it takes a lot of work.
It does.
And money.
Sometimes it takes a long time for you to get this mind together, to get rid of some of your toxic behavior, some of your dysfunctions. So I valued that. There was so much value in that when you said that, and that's so true. And that's why, piggyback to what you said before, we got to keep our mouth off of people.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
We just got to leave people alone. Let them go through whatever they got to go through. Lord, don't let them kill themselves. We don't want nobody to commit suicide or anything like that.
Definitely not.
We want you around to be healthy and well, but Lord, please go through it.
Yeah.
But there's some help out there for you while you go through it too.
Yeah.
So, Candi, I thank you so much for coming on. But we got to do this again. Man, we got to do this.
Say the word.
It's so much. It's so much that I would love for us to have a conversation about in this world today, because I think a lot of times we'll never ever, perspective is good, because I don't know what you went through. You don't know what I went through. I don't know what that person has gone through. So whatever they feel like is right, there's a reason why they feel that way. Right. Like the woman if it's a woman that went through domestic violence. Maybe it's a guy over here who got beat across the head in a relationship. We'd laugh at the guy and kind of just say,
That's true.
Man, get out. She did what? We would, because I'm getting tickled about it. But you won't take, when it happens to you though, you'll take a step
but
back.
See, we don't look at the fact that guy has already been psychologically conditioned to know that he's going to go to jail if he touches that woman. So he will take it. Yeah. Because he doesn't want to go to jail.
He don't want to go to jail. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Ain't that the truth? That's true. I say, Lord, you beat on that man and he didn't snap on you. Right. You hit the right one, then, because there's some jokers out there some crazy rascals out there, boy, that'll snap back.
Yeah, so, they will.
We're not making jokes about domestic violence, but what we are saying is, like, it happens.
Don't start none.
No, won't be none.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because you don't know. You don't know, and I tell women all the time, don't push it. Just roll out. Yeah. Just leave. Yeah, leave them alone.
Yeah. Yeah, because you keep on pushing. Push a rat in the daggone corner, boy. It's ugly, I'm sorry for being so real, but that's just, I'm just saying, Lord have mercy. Lord help everybody. Let's say that right there. Right. Black and help our men and help our women overall, everybody. Yeah. Yeah, we get, we have a lot of comic relief in our community. So even though it sounds like I'm saying it funny, but I swear I'm not taking light of that. Lord have mercy. But I have had myself in some entanglements. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So, hey, man, listen, man. I hope that something has been said today to help you just become better. And we're going to have Miss Jeter come back again. But before she goes, I want her to say something on a positive note, if you would. If you say something positive to the folks out there that have been listening today, to help inspire and motivate them if they're feeling stuck, if they're having a hardship in their life. If you can say something to help them for the moment, to help them become better, and then tell the folks how they can contact you for your book and how they can follow you.
Sure. Yeah. So the thing that comes to mind, I think I will say, is let go. Let go. Yeah. Even when it seems impossible. Yeah. A lot of the times we have to be honest. Like you say, we have to be transparent about what we really want to do. Yeah. When we say we want to lose weight, do we really want to lose weight? Or do we just need to first just start wanting to to lose weight, right? The things that we say that we want, we need to ask for that desire to truly be there.
Yeah.
Right? So if you want to know how to let go, just go to thelettinggobook.com. That's it. And that's where you can get in touch with me. That's where you can get on my email list, and I'll send you things. Thelettinggobook.com. Also, Candi T. Jeter, Candi Jeter, is my handle for Instagram, Facebook, and everything else.
Yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. I love it. We got to have you back again. And I thank you again for coming and gracing us with your presence here on the Ross Cloud Podcast. Listen, I am Carl Ross Sr. Make it a great day and keep being great. Remember, the sky's the limit. You can be what you want to be if you just believe and have faith. And just do it. I'm out. Peace.